They removed Earth from the Council without hesitation. No war, no resistance, no final stand, just a decision. To them, it was simple. Cut off a species that refused to follow protocol, too independent, too unpredictable, so they erased humanity from the system. Trade routes closed, defense treaties revoked, borders sealed, and then silence. For years, nothing came from human space. No signals, no fleets, no survivors. The Council moved on, because in their calculations, Earth was already gone. But what they failed to calculate was what humans would become when left alone. The chamber was already in session when the human delegation entered. No announcement, no ceremony, just silence. Rows of alien representatives filled the colossal circular hall, each species seated according to rank, influence, and power. Humanity had none, not anymore. At the center, suspended above the chamber floor, the council core rotated slowly, projecting laws, treaties, and judgments. And today, there would be one more. The human ambassador stood alone. No escort, no guards, no visible fear. That changed the deck. A voice emerged from the core, layered, artificial, absolute. Earth has violated 3 foundational accords. No one interrupted. No one defended them. The charges appeared in cold light. Unauthorized expansion, independent fleet development, non-compliant technological adaptation. The ambassador didn't react. He simply looked around the chamber, calmly, carefully, as if memorizing faces. What unsettled them most was he didn't look surprised. The Council has reached consensus. A pause, long enough to matter. Earth is hereby removed from all Council protections, trade networks, and interstellar cooperation. A ripple moved across the chamber. Not shock, confirmation. This was expected, planned. The ambassador finally spoke, not loudly, not emotionally, just enough. Understood. No protest, no negotiation, no last attempt. That answer landed harder than expected because suddenly everything looked different. Your species will not survive independently, another voice added. Still calm, still composed. The human nodded slightly. Then we'll find out. No one answered immediately. The chamber remained still as the human turned and walked out. No one stopped him. No one needed to. As far as the Council was concerned, humanity was already gone. Years passed, then decades, and then silence became something else. At first, the Council didn't notice, because nothing from human space was expected anymore. No signals, no trade, no movement. Extinction was the assumption, efficient, predictable, closed. But then an outer relay station failed to report. Not destroyed, not attacked. It simply stopped existing. No debris, no distress call, just absence. The incident was logged as malfunction until a second station vanished, then a third. Patterns began to form, and patterns made command uncomfortable. What is the cause? One of the sector overseers demanded. No one answered, because no one had anything to show. No enemy signatures, no radiation spikes, no known weapon trace, only disappearance. What unsettled them most was everything stopped without resistance. Then came the first confirmed visual. A patrol vessel assigned to investigate a silent sector transmitted a partial feed before its signal cut. The footage reached the Council, delayed, corrupted, but intact enough. The ship approached the edge of what used to be human-controlled space. Everything looked empty, too empty. No colonies, no orbital structures, not even debris fields, as if the entire region had been cleaned. That changed the deck. The patrol commander spoke in the recording. There's nothing here. It's like they never existed. Then the ship slowed, uncommanded. Thrusters still active, navigation systems responsive, but forward movement stopped. No impact, no gravitational anomaly. Just halted. Silence filled the bridge. No one moved. And then something appeared, not entering space, not jumping in. It was already there, watching. No one on the council floor spoke as the footage froze on that final frame, because suddenly everything looked different. For the first time since the banishment, humanity was no longer assumed dead, and whatever they had become, it wasn't something the council understood. The council chamber remained in darkness longer than protocol allowed. No one ordered the lights back on, because no one wanted to be the first to speak. The final frame from the patrol vessel still hovered above the central floor, frozen, analyzed, replayed, slowed, magnified, and still, no one understood what they were looking at. The object, if it could be called that, had no visible structure, no hull, no engines, no recognizable geometry. It did not reflect light. It did not emit energy. It simply occupied space, in a way nothing should. "What is it?" one of the high commanders finally asked. No one answered immediately, because every known classification system had already failed. "It does not match any recorded technology," another voice said, quieter this time. "That is not possible." That answer landed harder than expected, because in the council, impossibility did not exist, only incomplete data. But this wasn't incomplete, it was absent, and that absence was beginning to feel deliberate. A new analysis layer unfolded across the projection: temporal distortion, gravitational variance, quantum interference, all present, all minimal, all controlled. As if whatever that thing was, it was choosing not to be seen. What unsettled them most was, it had allowed the patrol ship to approach, allowed it to observe, allowed it to record, and then removed it cleanly, without resistance, without escalation, without warning. "That was not an attack," one of the observers said. A pause followed, long, heavy, uncomfortable. "No," another responded. "That was a demonstration." The chamber shifted, subtly, but undeniably, because suddenly everything looked different. A system that could erase ships without force, could erase fleets, could erase systems, could erase the council itself. And yet, it hadn't. "Send another probe," command ordered. This time, not unmanned, not distant. A fully crewed diplomatic vessel, armed, shielded, prepared for contact or confrontation. The decision passed without resistance, because fear and danger are not always the same thing, and the council needed to know which one this was. The second ship entered human space under full sensor saturation, every possible scan active, every weapon system primed, every crew member alert. They crossed the threshold slowly, carefully, deliberately. Nothing, still nothing. No fleets, no signals, no structures, just the same impossible emptiness. "This region should contain at least 9 former colonies," the navigation officer stated. "Confirmed," the captain replied. "Then where are they?" No one answered, because the deeper they moved, the more wrong everything felt. Distances didn't behave correctly. Signal delay fluctuated. Star positions drifted, not physically, perceptually, as if space itself had been rewritten. The captain leaned forward slightly. "Hold position." The ship stopped, and for a moment, everything stabilized. Clean readings, predictable metrics, reality normal. Then, the sensors dropped, not offline, not damaged, silenced. Every screen dimmed, every system quieted. The crew froze. No alarms, no warnings, just absence. The bridge lights flickered once, twice, then stabilized again. And something new appeared on the main display. A signal. No origin point, no direction, no translation required. Because it wasn't transmitted, it was placed directly into their systems. A single line. Simple. Clear. "Human? We see you." No one moved. No one breathed. No one spoke. The captain stared at the message for several seconds, then issued a command. "Respond." The comms officer hesitated, just for a moment, then nodded. "What should we say?" The captain didn't answer immediately, because for the first time, the council wasn't observing humanity. Humanity was observing them, and whatever had been built in the silence of exile, it was no longer hiding, and it was very aware. The message remained on the screen. "We see you." No distortion, no delay, no traceable source, just presence. The bridge crew stayed frozen, as if any sudden movement might provoke something they could not fight. The captain finally leaned forward. "Transmit response." The comms officer swallowed. "Channel open." A pause. Then, "This is a council vessel. Identify yourselves." Silence followed. Not empty, not passive. Observed, measured, judged. Then the reply came. Instant. "We know who you are." That changed the deck, because the tone wasn't hostile. It wasn't defensive. It was certain. "What is your position?" the captain pressed. This time, the delay was intentional, not technical, deliberate, as if something, somewhere, was deciding how much they deserved to know. Then, "You are inside a boundary you no longer understand." No one answered immediately, because suddenly, everything looked different. "Clarify," the captain said, his voice tighter now. Another pause, longer, heavier. Then, "You removed us from your system." A faint shift ran across the bridge. "We built our own." The words didn't sound like a threat. That was what made them dangerous. "What you are experiencing is the edge of it." The captain glanced at his officers, sensors still silent, weapons still online, but blind. "What is this space?" he asked. The response came slower this time, as if choosing precision over speed. "This is controlled reality." The phrase landed like impact, because it wasn't metaphor, it wasn't exaggeration, it was literal. What you perceive as empty is structured. What you perceive as distance is managed. What you perceive as approach is permitted. What unsettled them most was they were no longer navigating space. They were being allowed to exist inside it. "Then the colonies," the navigator began, "still exist." The interruption was immediate. They were not destroyed. They were removed. The captain's eyes narrowed. "Removed where?" A pause, then, "Outside your reach." Silence took the bridge. Total. Absolute. Even command forgot to speak, because the implication was no longer theoretical. Humanity hadn't survived exile. They had redefined the environment itself. "Why show us this?" the captain finally asked. Another pause, but this time shorter, colder. "To correct your assumption." "What assumption?" "That we needed your counsel." No one moved. No one even breathed. Then came the final line, and it changed everything. "You didn't banish us." A pause. "You released us." The council reconvened immediately. Emergency session, full attendance, no delays, no hierarchy disputes. Because for the first time in recorded history, every species agreed on one thing. They had made a mistake. The chamber filled faster than ever before, not with arrogance, not with authority, but with something unfamiliar. Restraint. The footage from the diplomatic vessel played again, and again, and again, each time revealing less certainty, more implications. "What is their current capability?" one of the elders asked. No one answered, because there was no scale for this. "They control space," another voice said quietly. "No," a different one corrected. "They control what we think space is." That answer landed harder than expected, because it removed the last illusion of parity. "They could have destroyed the vessel," a commander added, "but they didn't." "Why?" Silence followed, then, "Because they didn't need to." The realization spread slowly, like pressure, like gravity, like something inevitable, because suddenly everything looked different. The council wasn't dealing with a rival species anymore. They were dealing with a civilization that had outgrown the framework entirely. "What is their intent?" someone asked. Again, no answer, because intent required comparison, and there was nothing left to compare. Then a signal interrupted the chamber, direct, unfiltered, human, the same presence, the same certainty, displayed above them all. No origin point, no permission granted. It simply appeared. "We will not return to the council." No one interrupted. No one dared. "We will not request recognition." A pause, long enough to break something invisible. "But we will be watching." The chamber froze. Completely, every species, every rank, every voice, gone. The message remained for a moment longer, then vanished, no trace, no residue, no way to follow. The council core dimmed slightly, as if even it didn't know how to respond, and for the first time since its creation, the chamber had no authority left to exercise. No orders were given, no decisions made, no voices raised, because every species present understood the same thing. At the same time, humanity hadn't come back to reclaim a seat. They had come back to show they no longer needed one. The deck fell silent, and it stayed that way, because somewhere beyond their reach, beyond their understanding, humanity was still building, still watching, still deciding. And this time, the council was no longer part of the equation. And if you're human, subscribe, leave your like and comment below. Humanity stands.